All right, folks, here we are, downtown Canton, Mississippi, doing the filming locations for A Time to Kill. This movie, if you didn't know, was inspired by true events that happened in 1984 up in South Haven, Mississippi. A guy raped and beat on two young girls, 12 and 16, put them in a real bad shape. And make a long story short out of this, John Grisham in 1984 was a lawyer in South Haven, and he did not want this case. Who would, right? I mean, you know. But his friend actually got the case, and so John was able to. He was actually able to watch from afar, kind of, you know, on this. And in an interview, he says he was watching, and one day he was sitting there, and he said, "If I had a gun, I'd kill that guy. If I was that father, I'd kill that guy." And I believe that's where A Time to Kill. If there was ever a time to kill in this movie, it was time, wasn't it? So, you know, anybody who's got kids, you already know, okay? So, so here at the courthouse, we're at Madison County Courthouse right now. There were no interiors shot here. All the interiors were on a soundstage, and just all the jail scenes that where Hailey was locked up, all that was, that jail has been since demolished. It was here on the courthouse square, but it was removed a few years back. And I'm looking around while I'm filming right now. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 film locations in front of me. Like a ton of this movie was filmed right here on the square. So if you do decide to come down, I'm going to put a link on the screen right now for the Canton Tourism office. Definitely contact them, okay? They've got a museum set up here in the actual building where Jake Bergantz's law office is, where one of the diners is. You have to come check it out if you're going to come down here to Canton, okay? And anyways, enough of my talking, right? Let's get to it.
Everything in here was here during filming, except the Warner Brothers sign. It was out at the sound stage, which was off of 22. All of the inside courtroom scenes were done out there. All of the outside scenes were done here on the square. Even the sugar bowls, molasses, all of that, the little creamers.
Yeah, it's all original.
The flowers, the vases, and here's one of the original menus. All the way down, the molasses here, the pepper sauce in here. If I opened that top, it might go up.
All the way up.
Even the ketchup from 1995.
So this was actually, I recognize this. This was in the...
This is where Jake would sit. He would sit here so he could watch who came in the door.
Okay.
Look at the yellow shade in the middle window. When they filmed the scene when it was thundering and lightning, it was as sunny as it is right now. Oh. But if you pop the shade, it sounds like thunder. And the shade was what changed the lighting. When Sandra Bullock drove into town in that cute little black car, that's where she parked, on that sidewalk right there by the flagpole. The doors are original to the building. My favorite thing about the building are the stairs. The scene when Diane Lane was coming after the fire and the trial. These are the steps that she walked up. Look how worn. A lot of the props from the play are in here that were not here when it was Jake's office. This is Ethel's office.
Secretary, yeah.
And every time I dust or clean, I have to take a picture and put everything back exactly where it was, except there was a yellow rosebud dried and crumbling. I did get to throw that away. And over here was yellow mums, still in the dirt. So I did get to leave that. All of the newspapers, magazines are 1995.
Oh, wow.
How did Canton end up with it? Joel Schumacher was in Oxford scouting for locations. His crew landed in Jackson, and our film office picked them up and was driving them to Oxford. And they detoured by here. Well, they fell in love with the courthouse. And when John Grisham was a young state senator, he drove past this courthouse. And if you're familiar with all of his other books, like The Chamber, he actually wrote about places he knew about. And the buildings, the way he described them, were real buildings. Well, filming would start in August, and the goal was to be gone by November. Well, that's peak football season for the Ole Miss Rebels, and partying in the Grove. And the fact that Canton is a perfect square, which Oxford is not. So that's how we ended up with it. Joel Schumacher fell in love with the courthouse. This was at Claude's, where
They went to eat out.
the catfish. And all of these signs were from Claude's. This is the store, and the little girl was raped. She was coming down the steps with the milk and eggs. That was on Verilla Road, and it burned 2 years ago.
Oh.
All of these are the blueprints of the soundstage, the inside courthouse.
Because I was going to ask you that. So all the courthouse was not in that building?
No.
Okay.
No. Of course, that's the movie billboard. And this is the crew. A lot of extras are in here. A lot of Cantonians are in here. Do you recognize this actress?
I do not.
Octavia Spencer. Best actress for The Help.
Okay.
Another Mississippi author, born and raised, Catherine Stockett, born and raised in Jackson. That was one of the things. Nothing could be changed in the book. And in the scene when Carly is freed, and Roark is in the hospital because she's been beat up, she jumps up and down and claps her hands and says, "Roark, we have won." That is not in the book.
Oh, okay.
That was the only speaking thing that was changed. The other thing that was changed in the book, the town is Clanton. In the movie, John Grisham allowed it to be called Canton. The yellow is antique glass from New Orleans, and the clear is antique glass from a shop in Memphis, Tennessee. The balcony was added. Archives gave permission, but it was to come down as soon as filming was over.
Yeah.
But when Joanne Gordon wanted, she was our director then, wanted it to be a museum, and they allowed it to stay up. I want you to look in the rooms. We have furniture that was bought for this. You can see this shot was taken in 1995. There is a little split on that arm over there on that chair. Go look at how much it is split in the last.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, when A Time to Kill came to town, Canton fell in love with them, and we fell in love with them. They fell in love with us. Through the whole process of it, Joel Schumacher kept asking Joanne Gordon, what can we do to show Canton our gratitude? Well, toward the end, like in every film, props are auctioned off or either sent for relocation for another movie. The red leather couch was right here. When that couch left this room, that's when Joanne Gordon said, stop, I know what I want. I want this to be a museum, leave everything. And Joel Schumacher gave her the keys.
This is the neat right here.
The bomb that blew up Jake's house, the shells are the casings from when Carly shot the thugs in the court. The next shelf is Jake's court files that went to court with him. And the next shelf, that little bitty cigar is the one that Matthew McConaughey was chewing on when he's flirting with Sandra Bullock. And the other two were his as well. The airline tickets are Southwest, and that was a Canton couple, husband and wife, that were Carla's mom and dad. Everything on Jake's desk is exactly the way it was. Two things are missing, and someone took them actually since I've been here. It was a family portrait of Carla and Hannah and Matthew. In the movie, he would lie on the couch and throw the baseball up. And this is the glove. The ball got taken. This is the only diploma from Ole Miss Law School that was given, not earned. And the law students thought they had to work too hard to earn theirs for it to be given away. So that one is the only one they have given. This is the dog bowl, water and food, and the dog's bed. Everything in this room is from Jake's house. That's all of the furniture you can see that was in Jake's house. The white shirt, Jake wore, Matthew McConaughey wore the shirt in court, and the pink shirt he wore in the movie, as well as the shoes. This is a model of Jake's house, the antebellum home that they loved. When Joanne Gordon found out that this house was actually going to be burned, she wanted to say, no, you can't burn it. It was burned at midnight. And I tell people, God knew that Welcome Center needed to be in that old hotel and not in this house at the interstate.
There you go.
So there you go. The actual couch, and you can see, this was actually a piece of material, and the pictures had become so cracked that we had to have it scanned and redone. But everything in this room was from Jake's house. Now, this is the cross that was burned in Jake's yard.
Okay.
This one was on Ethel's back porch when the Clan, her husband, was on the deck and he had the heart attack because he was so frightened. This was the cross at Ethel's. Here are two of the torches that the Clan held when they marched the square. if they were filming here, this is your detour sign, time to kill. Told you which way to go. The blankets and all of the artwork here was at Claude's. This was on Ozzy's desk. And that's more advertisement from Claude's. Now, this is a model. It was tore down. It was on the northeast corner. It was Madison County's offices for elected officials. It was the jail that Carly was in. More signs from the marches. And a neat thing about these signs, art classes in school all over town, all over the city, did those signs. And that's the courthouse, and that was at the sound stage. The courtroom is upstairs and has no columns. This is Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is the war room. None of that has any, that's Oh Brother, and this is Pondered Heart. When you stand here and look back, we don't have the table that was the table they used to plan the case. This was Judge Noose's table that was on the east side of the square in the Elks Lodge. The two murals were brought here 5 years ago. They were in storage in bubble wrap. I thought they were too beautiful not to be up here. But they were in the courtroom at the sound stage. One was on the side of the judge and the other was on the side of the jurors. Yeah. This painting of the ship was at Lucius's house, the warehouse where the Klan met. And it's also where they took Sandra Bullock. It's in Rankin County. I do not know if it's still there. Now this is my closet.
Okay.
Washing machine, Carly's.
Oh wow! So that was at his house.
Okay. We do have his couch and chair. As much money as A Time to Kill had, they had a budget, but they didn't worry about it. My dog Skip worried about every penny they spent. They used Carly's couch and chair in My Dog Skip, and it's in that museum. More columns from the courthouse scene.
So in the scene where you see the Klan coming around the corner, they're coming around right there in front of that 1896 building. And they come right down the center of this street right here. And if you notice in the movie where this Canton Square Antiques is, that is where they had the yellow school bus parked right there. And of course, the fight takes place right here in the street, pretty much right in front of the courthouse. And you have the people who are defending Carl Lee, and you have the Klan right divided here in the middle. During the fight scene, there's a Molotov cocktail thrown down on a Klan member, and he throws it from right on the left side of the top of that blue right there. I'll give you the exact angle right here. Right about there, that's the angle right there. So he was right on top of that blue building there on the very left side of it. And then Kiefer Sutherland ends up shooting a deputy in the neck, and he shoots him from the right side of that blue top of that building there against that brick wall. That's where he's sitting at when he shoots down. And he shoots right behind me, right onto about the third step of the courthouse, where Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey come out the door. That's where the shooting happens, right there. All right, folks, this is where Jake Bergrantz's house was. course, it burned down. They cleared the lot off, and it is grown over something fierce. I'm going to show you the driveway here in just a second. I'm going to see if I can match some of this stuff up. Here's a power pole right here in that tree. So here's the actual driveway right here. I'm going to walk down it a little bit and just see what I see. So yeah, this is where the house was. So there's nothing here at all. You're in front of Jake's property right here. Go back. If you look back across the street in a couple of the scenes, you'll see this house right here. And that is about the only thing that there is to match this up. So that's that. Nothing to show y'all really. All right, folks, we're downtown Canton on Peace Street. I'm gonna show you this location. Y'all recognize that behind me back there, the pink building? There you go. Y'all recognize that? All right, so that served as Claude's Diner. That's the location where Matthew McConaughey and Sandra Bullock went. He was explaining to her how he felt about the death penalty, and a lot of road noise right here downtown. But anyhow, he told her he was for it. We ought to use it more. She got mad and got up and ran out. And she ran right there, right beside that window right there, the one that's leaning. And they were sitting in the diner right there, right behind that flower pot. I'm gonna walk over there. I'm gonna show you. Everything's changed now, but let's go check it out. So this was the entrance right here. There was a little small table, and that's the location right there. I'm gonna insert the snippet here, the way you can see it, match it all up. If you look over my shoulder right here, you'll see Hamlin's Florist, this green banner back here. Now you can see that in the movie also. And she gets pissed off and comes out and walks right down here. Walks right here, and she leans up right here on this glass right there. He walks up and she says, "I can get a little fired up."